mic because we're live now. Good evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. End of another week closer to spooky season. It's getting there. Half our house is decorated already, so I've just got other half the outside have to do so far. So tonight we have a special show for you. There's Liam's other half saying hello already. Evening, dear. I've got a special show for you. We have these two ladies, Liz and Barry, from the owners of the Poolhouse Museum up, and I'm going to get this wrong. Poolewe.A. Poolewe.A. There's the island for Phantom Seekers. Hi, Island though. So this is these two ladies' first ever podcast. So we're quite honoured that they chose us to be the first, basically. And of course, this little guy down below me. He's been on quite a few times. And this is Liam, the gaffer of Highland Paranormal. As long as he's not wearing shorts. I did see the photograph the other week there, Liam. With you with shorts on.
I'm in my underpants tonight.
Only joking. As long as they're yours.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't wear anyone else's.
I was talking about your other halves, but
that's only at the weekends.
That's you put me off right away, young man. So stop it. Some images are scarred into your brain. Liam in women's underwear. That's just ruined everybody's Friday night doing it.
Sorry, folks.
Anyway, back to the serious stuff, and we'll not talk about Liam's underwear. So these two ladies, I'll let these two ladies tell you what they do and where they are themselves, actually.
Over to you, Liz.
Well, Poolhouse is about 325 years old. It's had a long history. Many things have happened in its walls. We've been turning it into a kind of a historic house cum museum. We have quite a big section on World War II because Winston Churchill was here and requisitioned the house. We have a cafe, which is busy, usually. We have a little gift shop. And we've been here a long time, since 1991. But not alone.
So there's quite a lot of history to the build and to the area, probably. I had a wee Google on the map. You're a wee bit far up.
We are.
Indeed.
Not unreachable, mind you. I can't just say hello to Helen, and I'm going to get her name wrong today. Kyra.
Kyra, yep, it's Kyra.
When I get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Excellent. I think the first time I met her, I got her name wrong. It's one of these kind of unusual. No offense, Kyra. So there's quite a lot of history in the building and the area, and you've got quite a few guests as well, permanent guests.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I think we're outnumbered, well and truly. Yeah. There seems to be, I don't know, there seems to be increasing every year. It's getting busier and busier.
So what kind of stuff goes on?
Well, all sorts, to be honest. There are those who are quite sensitive, who see things. There are others who feel things, the touch of hands on their shoulders, that kind of thing. We have people faint in this building inexplicably for no reason. We do have loud noises occasionally, bangs and sounds of running feet, lights, glow, little kind of balls of light that float around ceilings, all sorts. For me, it's mostly, I can feel when there's something around because kind of the hairs go up on the back of your neck. And I might tend to avoid those areas and go in during daylight hours. So usually I think the house is most active after dark. Not necessarily always. Sometimes it's quite active during daylight hours too, but for me, I think it's worse after dark.
Mhm.
Eileen's
Definitely.
asking, are any of the ladies sensitive?
Not particularly, but that doesn't mean that I haven't experienced things. I'm not the most sensitive of souls, but I have had a fairly horrid experience in one of the rooms.
Do you want to talk about it, or is it one of these things you'd rather forget?
Well, we had a room. We used to be a hotel, and for a very long time, we had to fib basically and deny all knowledge that the house had any other occupants at all. But I'm afraid we did have a lot of guests experience things, and a lot of guests checked out early. We had one room which in particular around April or late October, early November was particularly bad. And guests would run from that room in the night. And one elderly gentleman was so panicked, he tripped and fell down our main stairs, which would be quite unpleasant. It's quite a long way to fall, and didn't do him much good. But they all said the same thing about this room. Everybody who ever stayed in it described their experience. It was always the same. And I suppose there was a part of me that thought it was, a bit strange that they all tied in together. But I decided to be brave and sleep in that room myself. And it happened to me. So usually, I don't know, between the hours of sort of 2 or 3 in the morning, you're woken up by the sounds of every door along the corridors, and there's quite a few of them, all slamming. And you hear running feet, and you hear the sounds of panic. You hear women crying and men that sound agitated. And it's very loud indeed. So your first thought is that the building must be on fire.
I was just going to ask that. Is there any history?
Well, that is what it sounds like, that there is a fire. So I fell out of bed as well. I ran to the door, grabbed a dressing gown, opened the door, and absolute silence. And of course, it then, it clicked with me that the place was closed and there wasn't anybody staying. Oh, well, it was just really me. So you try to rationalize it, and you think, well, people have told me about this. I've dreamt it, or it's been kind of auto-suggestion. So I went back to bed. I turned off the light and it started again. I was well and truly awake by now. So I put the light on and it had no effect. The noise outside the door continued. I really didn't want to get up and investigate now. I was really quite nervous. So I remember just sort of holding the duvet up. And the next thing, behind my head was just this almighty bang, as if somebody was trying to break through the wall with a very large club hammer. I was absolutely petrified by now. And then the next thing that happened was the bed, which is quite, it's a 450-year-old bed in solid oak. It started to move with me in it. And that did the trick. I got up. I was out of there, and I never let anybody sleep in that room again. But I have told Liam that we have a possible answer for what went on in there. So a good few years ago now, we had an electrical engineer working on our fire system, and he said to us, he came downstairs and he said, "There's something very off with that room." And I said, "I know, it's all right. We know about it. Just ignore it, carry on, And he said, "Well, would you mind if I send a photo of this room to my daughter? She's actually a very gifted medium, despite being disabled and bedridden. All she would need is a photograph of the room, and she will be able to give us some insight into what is going on." So I said, fine, I was thoroughly expecting her to come back and say, "Has anybody been in a fire there?" But what she actually did do was she got back and she asked if we had any Titanic connections. And actually we do. My mother is a cousin, albeit distant one, of the captain now, because he's obviously died before she was born. But we have quite a bit of Titanic memorabilia in the house, things that the captain gave to the family, things that we got from Harland and Wolff, some of her original floor tiles and bits and pieces, china, all sorts of things are scattered around this house.
And from the museum, movie. Mm-hmm.
And even, it's even film props. So what she said was that we'd acted somewhat as a lighthouse or a little beacon for spirits out there, and it had drawn them to the house, but specifically it was children, because the room I'm talking about is actually filled with we have it for our house tours, and it's full of Victorian and Edwardian toys. So they would be very familiar to children of that era. Mm-hmm. And so I should maybe have pointed out, occasionally we have dolls that are undressed or found on the floor, or their hair's been unplaited and things like that. So she said basically that the kids are in a happier environment there. They recognize these things, they're familiar, and they're actually playing with them. And she explained the running we're hearing and the banging of doors is pretty much what the children here heard as the ship was being evacuated, hence the panic. She said that if we heard any loud bangs, because she could visualize furniture as the ship tilted, smashing against walls, wardrobes and things might come undone and bang against walls and cabinets. And lastly, she said, if there's movement in your bed, it's because it's starting to float as the ship filled with water. So what she was saying basically is that we were experiencing what those poor kids experienced, in their last minutes or whatever on the ship. I'm not sure it made me actually feel better about it, but it's at least more tragic than anything. She also said that if we moved everything to do with the Titanic out of the house, they wouldn't be able to find their way back, and it would become very peaceful again. But we haven't really got the heart to do that, to be honest.
It's a fascinating story. I know what you mean. Like, if you move to, if the children are happy there, they feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Then you taking everything out, you try to think yourself, where would they go?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would they be just wandering elsewhere or whatever? So it's a kind of catch-22 sort of situation.
Yeah.
I would love to spend the night in that room. Eileen says she's on her way with her toothbrush. We might do a wee road trip, Eileen, you never know. That kind of thing I would love. The collective energy of the children is pretty I can't say that word. Why we use that word in Glasgow, do we? I don't know. It's too many letters.
I've never seen a child, but there have been quite a few people who now claim to have seen a little girl, at least. I think in a white and blue dress, was it? White and blue?
Mm-hmm. Even last week, we had folk on a house tour that claimed to have seen a young girl, probably between 6 and 7, in a white dress with a blue bow. And that has been something that has been said for the last couple of years and people have seen.
So did it make you feel, I'll come to you in a wee second, Liam, don't worry, I'll know.
No, don't worry.
About you. Don't worry. Does it make you feel more at ease knowing that it's children there? Then it's not something...
Yeah, I think... before, I'd visualise somebody, burning to death in a room somewhere, or, I tried to rationalise it. I thought, well, somebody had been trying to smash in the door to get at somebody, in a fire or something. I couldn't explain the bed movement. That was just weird. I have to say, even knowing it's children, it's such a horrible thing that they experienced. I wouldn't want to sleep in there again. I really wouldn't. In fact, we put my aged uncle in it before me, and he's never visited us again. he said he won't if we ever put him in that room again. It is a really unpleasant experience, even knowing now that it's children. It's just the poor little souls, what they must have gone through.
But we don't just have the Titanic children in the house.
No, we don't know if they're roaming. We
dogs and
all sorts
people and all sorts.
And definitely, I think previous owners of the house, possibly servants, during the Victorian Edwardian era. We've got definitely a valet who has been seen a lot. Victorian, we used to call him the butler, but we found out who he was, and he's actually a Victorian gentleman's valet who would have carried his guns and his fishing rods and everything else for him. So there's a real mix of people floating about.
So I have another question for Ian. I've got one for you as well, Liam. Don't worry. I'll stick them up in a wee sec. So why is there in the house? I mean, just jump back to the Titanic with the children. It's a tragic story, obviously, especially anyway, with children. But it's a kind of, I would say, nice ending, if that's the right word, because the children have now found somewhere safe that they're happy.
Yes.
Considering what you can't even try to imagine what they went through, when it actually happened. But now that they feel safe and they feel comfortable with yourselves in that house, and they're with other children as well, and so it's a kind of good ending, basically, if that makes sense. In a way. Do you feel? I mean, we've got a location down here, called Loudon Kirk, but there's a farmhouse nearby that there's a connection to the Kirk, and we've been up at the farmhouse quite a lot. I mean, you go up there, you always feel like there's people walking about. I said that to the owner of the farm one day. I says, you always get a feeling there's people walking. He says, that's exactly how me and the other guy, we feel every time we're out and about. You feel like there's people still going about their daily business, their daily jobs. Do you feel that in the house?
We hear it more than any. I mean, you can actually hear footsteps above you quite often when there's nobody up there. We hear footsteps and movement, and occasionally something. If they play like a music box or something, I mean, that can be quite creepy, actually. I mean, it's nice if they're enjoying it, but yeah, I mean, it can be a bit creepy, especially, I mean, it's quite a big old house. So if you happen to be in it on your own and you start hearing footsteps above you and things moving or playing music, it's not terribly relaxing. But I don't think there's anything, I mean, there's nothing nasty in the house. There's nothing. I mean, we're just sharing it, if you want to call it that.
We have a lady who works with us in the cafe, and she's lived on the loch for years, and she'll come upstairs and say, please, folks, stay up here. We're working downstairs, so we're quite happy you're here, but please just stay up here and leave the cafe alone. Because she's quite sensitive to.
I think she's quite nervous about it all. Yeah,
and sometimes we've gone upstairs and the dolls are on the floor and they shouldn't be on the floor, and their hair's been unplaited, and it takes us quite a while to plait the doll's hair again, put the shoes on. So when she comes up the stairs, she goes, hello, folks, we're happy you're here, but please stay here. We're just coming for a look round, and then we'll leave you alone. So, that's quite strange to have an employee that says that to people as well. But yeah, that's how she feels. The top floor of the building, whatever's up there. I mean, as I say, I'm not the most sensitive of souls, but I really feel that one. Yeah.
If I'm at the bottom of the stairs, you can feel it's waiting for you at the top. So sometimes I'll just go, no, I'll do it in the morning when it's brighter. It's the only one that I can really feel there's somebody there, and they're just waiting for you to come up those steps and meet them. And that's the one that I find maybe a little grumpier or a bit less accommodating than some of the others.
Should maybe just try to introduce yourself. Just what Barry was saying about the lady in the cafe that talks to them. I think that's a good thing because, you know, obviously, you know, they're listening, so they'll know that they're being acknowledged, kind of thing. Well, okay, that lady knows we're here. So, have you ever gave them any trouble for touching the dolls? You know, leave the dolls because it's a pain in the neck doing their hair or whatever.
No, we've never complained.
We've never complained.
Just quietly put them back together and put them back in position. I mean, there's a dog.
So much that happens in the house.
Yeah, there's a dog on the bed with a movable head, and that I can go in and I can quite clearly see that it's looking in a different direction than the way it was when I left it. You know, so that one moves about a bit as well.
I was wondering if I've got two questions here, one for yourself, one for Liam. I was wondering if you ever gave them much trouble. But I used to stay myself in a flat here, just quickly, and I had somebody in there. I believe it was a gentleman who passed away in the flat prior to me living there. But he would do things. He would like move my Buddhas and move my keys and stuff. But there was one night I was sitting watching the TV, and I had a galley kitchen kind of thing that looked at the living room, and the kitchen was right in front of me. And so I was sitting in my chair facing the kitchen, the telly was there. I was engrossed in this film, and the bin lid came flying, the kitchen bin lid came flying off. And I'm not going to say what I say, but, you know, I said, would you beep and pack it? I'm trying to watch my film. You know, let me watch my film, then you can do what you want, but give me peace, basically. I wasn't those exact words, you know, but after that, you know, he tended to calm down a wee bit. I don't know. Do you know what? You want to live here with me, then you know you'll be quiet when I'm watching a film, basically. So that's why I was asking if you maybe gave the kids, you know, kids any bother for don't touch the dolls or play with the dolls, but don't touch their hair or whatever. Eileen said, do you live there?
Yeah, well,
we used to. But our parents live there.
Our parents live here permanently. I move in the winter more. We have a cottage or whatever down the road because we tend to show the rooms off to the public during the summer months. And then I move in the winter when we're having to do maybe a bit of painting and decorating and fixing up. And unfortunately, I think that's, you know, the time of year when more things happen. It's darker and it's quieter, or maybe you just notice it more when there's less people around. I don't know.
Or maybe the spirits feel neglected because there's no guests.
Well, maybe, yeah. Maybe they're bored of us. Maybe they see us all the time, you know.
But that's actually a good point. You know, I mean, you know, during the summer, you've got guests coming and going sort of 7 days a week, and then bang, all of a sudden, it kind of stops. Maybe they are just kind of bored a wee bit.
Yeah.
But Liam, where is it? I'll find. Use 2 seconds. I find it. Something to do with a doll. There it is here. Eileen. You had an experience with a doll there. She seems to remember.
No, I've told the story about the doll and the boots. The doll being found on the floor, clearly not just falling off the bed, but with the boots removed. And when we were there, we did a rod session and we asked, and sure enough, they said, we took the boots off the doll. But it's that's a fascinating room. And that's the reason we went there in the first place, wasn't it? I mean, it was to try and work out what was going on in that room, and we always got this every time we took the public in. Everybody was saying it was this cold feeling from the knee down that people were picking up on children. And then when the Titanic explanation came out, it was like, oh my goodness, that ticks all the boxes. That really does tick all the boxes. And it explains it, because I think we were looking at the bed thinking it's the bed. It's got to be the bed. But we weren't getting anything from the bed. And it's always children that are normally picked up in that room. So we've had numerous mediums come in, guests come in, and it's always children. Now, you could argue that, the room's full of toys, so clearly it would be children. But it always has been. Even before the we've picked up a child's voice on a spirit box in that room.
That was amazing, Liam.
Yeah,
that
which I couldn't explain.
Perfect, yeah.
We also had, I wasn't in it, it was the other group, but actually the whole group ended up swaying in the room.
Yeah.
Which was totally bizarre as well. So everybody in the room, guests, investigators, everybody ended up swaying back and forth in the room as well, which was, you know, with no real explanation for that. But yeah, it's a fascinating room and a fascinating house, but by no means, as the ladies have said, the only active room in the building.
So have you done upstairs, Liam, to the
Yeah, the first time we went with the first time we did an event there, I should point out, because actually when we did the walk round, myself and Lynn came over and did a walk round, and even on the walk round we were getting activity. But when we did the event, it was quite quiet. And I remember Liz and Mary saying, no, upstairs, don't like it. And we went upstairs, and oh my goodness, we had K2 hits. We had some really peculiar activity on cat balls, where they were going off in really strange rhythms as well. And yeah, that area is, again, quite a few guests. That's when we take guests up there. That's when they tend to go, oh, no, I don't like it up here.
Yeah, and we had many guests over the years checked out that maybe on a 2-3 night stay would check out after one night up on the top floor.
The top floor's notorious from long before we came here. When we bought the house, they told us we wouldn't be able to get any local builders to work up there. It was so well known, and that we'd probably have to try and get builders in from Inverness if it needed any work doing that didn't know about its history. In the end, actually, we did get local builders, but they insisted on the entire family and staff being up there with them
in the house.
Televisions on, radios on, anything. They wouldn't stay there on their own at all.
And if you remember, Liam, the Dutch film crew that came, it was a top floor
really
that frightened them off,
and
they left early, and instead of staying until 6 a.m, left about 3 o'clock a.m. Because they had that thing that they called the music box. And it played melodies to them rather than like the notes that it normally played. So that was the top floor of the house that totally freaked them out, and they left. Was it the Drop that was called or something?
Yeah, the Drop.
Yeah.
The top part of the house is really, really different to the rest of the house.
Yeah.
And yet it's really weird because it's bright.
Yeah.
It's welcoming. So you don't actually, it's not one of these. Sometimes you go into a room, Scottish, you'll know, and it's like if it's dark, it's low roof or whatever, low ceiling or whatever, you think, okay, that kind of triggers things for a lot of people. But it's the complete opposite. They're lovely rooms. It's bright, there's plenty of sunlight coming into these rooms. And
it has just a weird feeling.
Yeah, it's fascinating because from if Kieran O'Keefe turned up as a parapsychologist and tried to debunk things, a lot of his arguments wouldn't stack up with those rooms, because those rooms are actually, on the face of it, very welcoming.
Yes.
Rooms. There's nothing that psychologically you go up there and think, oh my goodness. And certainly when I went up the first time, I went up with, there'll be nothing here. And no, sure enough, there was. So, yeah, it's fascinating. I'm just looking at the comments as well. I noticed that Kyra, I'm going
to catch up on them.
She got the thermal hand on her in the what we now call the Titanic room, the child's room. Yeah, she felt a hand print, when the thermal imager checked it. Sure enough, it was there.
Yeah. The top floor was our most checked out room. That's the one that most guests bailed out of. Because the Titanic kids room is worse at specific times of year. but the top floor is all year.
year. Mhm.
So that was the one that most guests would just check out of, and an awful lot of them reported seeing either a face or a person behind them in the mirrors
In the bathroom.
So if they were shaving or brushing their hair or putting makeup on, a face would appear next to them, and they didn't hang about.
Is there any? Is it possible? It's maybe this is just a theory we've thrown in. That is maybe somebody that used to, that was their sections of the house going, way back at some point, and it possibly, I'm saying it's a male. It's possibly that still his territory.
Possibly, yeah. That's just, very possible.
He's not guarding it, but he's not a people person.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or he wasn't a people person, he still isn't. And he sees anybody coming up there as, well, they're invading my space, basically. Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes 100% sense.
I think in the past, Liam, you've asked them if they mind us being there, and they've gone yes, but then said they didn't. They wanted us to stay all the same.
Yeah. I mean,
very contradictory.
I was going to say actually that despite everything that's gone on in the house, we've never ever felt anything nasty, negative.
No.
We've never had the, thought that we need to, as you know, Scott, if we're doing a session and something tells us basically, no, I don't want you there,
to go.
We will shut down and we will move on. We've never had to do that there. So, and we have tried the mirror. We've had people stand in front of the mirror for a time and see, but no. But that's not how it works anyway. So, we know that. And I've just seen there, Helen came with us last week. I think it was last week. I've kind of lost track of the days now. With some of the guys, we had some guests over from America, and we had some really interesting interactions and activity last week. Especially in the Titanic room, but as we're saying, it's not limited to that room. There's sightings in corridors. There's, I mean, the little girl sighting from last year fascinates me because 2 independent eyewitness reports. That to me is massive as a skeptic.
And father as well, because he was sitting watching TV. He wasn't one of the 2. And as I took the folks round to self-catering, when I came back and we're having supper, went, who was the little girl with you? And I was like, there wasn't any little girl, So he was totally horrified that he'd seen somebody that he could totally describe in the white dress with a blue bow, about 8 years old, and that tied into the other 2 sightings 24 hours earlier. So, really weird.
It is good when when you're not the only person that experiences it, where it be you're seeing somebody or seeing something, or one time at Loud and Cut, we were investigating that, looked over to the left, and it was a millisecond, but I thought I seen a little girl standing, peeking out from behind the sort of bushes kind of thing, but you're talking about a second and she was gone, but I can't say 100%, and nobody else seen her. So, with somebody else, like I said, another instance, we did Loud and Cut, we did it with another team a few weeks back, and there was a branch, that sounds stupid, but there was a branch lying on the grass, and with the area lit up, and there was a guy, one of the other team was standing next to me, and this branch, it was kind of bent in the middle, but it turned, and there was nobody, no animals, no mice or anything beside it. And the 2 of us looked at each other at the exact same time. I said, did you just see that branch? The branch actually moved, but there was nothing there that could have moved it. So it's when you get things like that, you're saying 2 different people see the same little girl, then it's not your imagination.
There's something there.
There is someone there. Helen saying, Liam, about the bang behind the headboard.
Yeah, we actually got that last week.
Yeah.
And that was a first when we've been in there. We actually got a bang. I immediately went out of the room, round to the there's a wardrobe in the room next door.
Mhm.
I'm hammering on the wall next door. Nobody in the Titanic room could actually hear me.
No, it's
Yeah.
a solid stone wall.
Yeah.
I went up to the attic above and looked, and it's a solid wall of stone.
It is a solid wall. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because actually Rick McCallum, he'd gone off wandering. He was actually upstairs, and he came down because he says, "I've just heard banging." So he heard it upstairs, but the folk
Wow.
in the room didn't hear it. But we clearly heard it. We clearly heard a bang, and it came from behind the headboard.
Yeah.
And that was clear. It was clear as day. So yeah, thanks to Helen for reminding me about that. I mean, that's the thing. There's actually been so much go on in the house when we've been there over the years.
Yeah.
That it's hard to keep. It's actually hard to keep track.
Yeah, there's so much of it that's
Yeah.
so different with different people or different times of the year. It's really, really strange.
And we've had the wee girl that's been spotted, Hannah, who's in our group now. She actually picked her up and drew her.
Yes.
So she does psychic art. So she actually picked her up and sort of confirmed what other folk had seen. So we actually have a little drawing that Hannah did of her as well. So
at the top of the stairs, I think that was.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking about the captain. No, captain doesn't manifest. It does seem to be mostly children. The only other one was that when the Dutch were in the room with their music box, it started playing SOS codes, the kind of Morse that they would have sent as a signal, which was really odd. A lot of people, when they played that back, picked up on the code for the SOS coming across. And wondered if some poor soul was still sending out an SOS signal after all these years.
So, at least I don't know if it sounds stupid, but you say there's quite a lot goes on. Have you tried keeping a diary?
We haven't actually. No. I mean, for a very, very long time, I think we were really trying to brush it under the carpet. It's really not good for hotel business. If people find out that they're sharing their room with others. So you tend to, say, oh, no, there's nothing,
We did have a guy that used to play the piano at the Ritz, and he stayed in the Titanic room, the kids' room, and he came down in the morning and said, my goodness, we thought the Ritz was haunted.
Well, the Ritz has got a reputation for being one of the most haunted hotels
in London.
And he said, we left it standing. He left it standing. So I think he must have had a rough night too.
So you tried to keep the sort of paranormal side on the low key.
Once we actually stopped taking guests and just turned it, I mean, then that's when I actually phoned Liam and said, we might as well go with it. Come have a look and see if we're crazy and making it up, or if you could spot anything too. And I sort of just tried to explain to him what guests had reported over the years. One room is the lady in there's only ever seen by men, never ever reveals herself to women at all.
Another room, shiny objects, jewelry are all moved.
Sometimes it's just footsteps all above you at night when you're trying to sleep. So there's lots of different activity in the house. The room we're in at the moment has no piano. A pianist that was playing here in the 20s or 30s went outside and slipped in the river and drowned. And the piano that used to be in here would apparently play all hours of the night. So the previous owners had it removed and warned us about putting it back in here. They did say, you're going to have quite a lot of other stuff going on around the house. You don't really need the hassle of a piano playing at 2 a.m. as well.
We've never put one in the last 35 years. The piano hasn't been in this room.
No, I'll keep it. I've got a comment for Kyra. I'll stick up in a minute. But just when you're talking about, keeping it on the QT, just what I was going to say is something to the Highlands. It would be booked solid with the likes of us. I don't know. Would you think? I don't think that would be a good thing. But obviously, I've never been in a location. We are going to be coming, by the way. Definitely after this, we are going to be coming. But would you think I think he's right that the ladies keep it on the QT, because you know what it's like. As soon as a place announces it's haunted, you know, they're swamped.
Yeah, all the loonies turn up.
Aye, every loony in the book coming up.
Me included.
Well,
Yeah, I get why people do it. It's frustrating for people like me, but I get why people do it, and I totally understand it, because I know that not just these ladies, other people I know that run these kind of establishments get pestered, and they get pestered by people who don't care about the people that are in the property, the people's business. Their only interest is basically going in and looking for ghosts and putting it on YouTube or whatever. So I do totally get it. I mean, we've done other locations where we're sworn to secrecy. We've done other hotels where we're sworn to secrecy on what's going on in them. They want to know what's going on, but they don't want the public. The public knowing. And I totally get that. And also, at the end of the day, we turn up, we leave.
Yeah.
You know, Roger Mary's still got to be in there on their own and lock up. So I get it. But these ladies have embraced it. I mean, you do the spooky tours once a week. We come at least twice a year, so we're back at the end of September. I'll plug it now. There's still some places if anybody wants to come along. The cafe's brilliant, by the way. So that's worth going for. Forget the house. Go to the cafe.
You get
no, the house is fascinating. If you love history, if you love culture, the ghosts are a bonus. Perfect, to be perfectly honest with it. And I do think, Scott, and we've talked about this before, that some of the items that are in the house, the energies that I think they bring, help as well. And obviously,
I think you're right there, Liam, because we have so many different things from all around the world that are being brought back by various members of the family. So you've got things from China, from Asia, from, Canada. Yeah, I really do believe that the energy on those items has also brought things back to the house.
Oh, you definitely do. We've experienced that in every location we do respect. Just with objects, the K2s went nuts, and then you take it away for the cabinet and just K2 goes dead, So we have had that before. But just for a stick, Kylie's comment, no, as Eileen says, keep it in control. That that's the best bet, because you'd get swamped with paranormal teams, and as Liam says, there's a lot of them just out there to get it on YouTube, and YouTube. Well, it's good side, it's bad. It's good side, but it's also its bad side, So one team could put a video up, and 20 other teams see it.
Yeah,
and they say, "Oh, and your location is kind of the ideal setting."
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere. It's an old house, it's haunted. People would flock to it, and I think that would put a lot of your sort of guests off, and it might put the spirits off as well.
Well, we did unfortunately have some people that said, "Oh, we want to come and see you, and we'll annoy the spirits," so they come out, and we're like, "No, thank you, go away." We live in the house. Our parents live in the house. And the last thing we want is an annoyed spirit. Yeah. We're quite happy with what's in the house. And as long as they're happy with us, that's fine. But yeah, for somebody to say we want to annoy the spirits to get them to come out, we're like, I don't think so.
No, it's totally disrespectful. So living like live, pardon the pun. You know what I mean? Yeah. We caught some sort of shout, scream and audio earlier this year, which couldn't be explained. That was an interesting one. It's so clear, and we all heard it in real time too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I actually, there's so much stuff being caught at Poolhouse. It's like I struggle to keep up with it. With it all over the years. I mean, we've been so fortunate to have gone there quite a few times now, and it always delivers. There's always something, and we always say you can't guarantee it, but they seem to like us, and they seem to want to interact. They're happy there, and I think they're happy at what the house is how the house is, and
Yeah.
you know, I think that's a big thing for spirits. I mean, we know that if, especially when there's work being done in the house, spirits seem to get disturbed and they're not happy, and they make their presence known. But the spirits here seem to be quite content, and I think they quite enjoy our visits, to be honest.
I think so too, Liam.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, they maybe latch on to us because we're here all the time. But when you're around and people are asking them questions, it's like a new face, and yeah, they're happy to see you. Yeah. But there isn't anything that Liz, myself, mum or dad ever feel is bad in the house. There may be the odd naughty ghost that wants to move things, but there's not anything that's actually bad in the house. Yeah. So yeah, from that side of things, I think everybody's quite happy. But for other people that maybe stay with us and things are moving about or something happens, it feels quite odd and strange and yeah, not normal.
You think maybe because it's new to them, you know, obviously their guests, they've came for their house, you know, and then they're staying, and you know, nothing of that happens in their house, and as soon as they see something moving, you know, I don't know, an ashtray, say for instance, I know you can't either have them, but they see an object moving, they immediately think, bang, Hollywood, horror films, demonic, we're going to get pinned against the ceiling or something like that. You know,
but yeah, we do have one ghost or spirit that lives in the middle of the house, and they really love anything jewelry wise. So if somebody comes into that part of the house and they take the rings off or bracelet off,
it'll vanish. It'll be found, but it won't be where they left it. So they're just moved all about the place, and you have to search to find it. Stays within the same sort of group of rooms, you know, but if they left it in the bathroom, it'll be found in the bedroom or in their sitting room, that kind of thing. So
to me, that's just a playful spirit. My old flat,
could be a child
once, you know. My TV remote get moved as well, and I lived myself, you know. So I mean, it's things like that, you know. They don't mean any harm. They just want to have a laugh with you. Yeah. You know, take the mickey out of you. You know, I'm going to hide her keys. See how long it takes her to find them, or you know, something like Helen saying your soup's amazing. Do they do a roll and slice?
Do we do a roll? Did you say? Yeah,
a roll and slice.
Sliced? What's that? Is this a Glasgow thing?
I thought you ladies and relatives and that came from Glasgow.
Yeah.
Well,
you must know what a roll and slice is.
Translate, please, Liam.
No idea. I'm no idea.
Oh, Liam, come on.
Come on. Enlighten us.
Sausage, long sausage, square sausage.
Long sausage,
Oh, right. Yeah.
A roll and slice.
Yeah.
Yes. We do a lawn and slice, yeah. Bacon and lawn, you're on.
Right. There's a lot of disrespectful teams you wouldn't want. That's just get back to what we were saying. I thought everybody knew what a sausage. Well, Eileen, being all posh, sausage on a roll. It's a roll and slice, Eileen.
Why be posh? It's a roll and long.
I said, Kyra, she got it. Roll with square sausage. Well done, Kyra.
Yeah, Kerlock Butcher, best lawn sausage going. There you go.
I think spirits enjoy knowing people. That's just, we were saying earlier on, with Brun, no Brun sauce. Brown sauce is something that should be disinvented. Same as salad cream. Sarah and her wee ones, they love mayonnaise. And I think it's disgusting. No. Brown sauce as well. No. Tomato sauce, aye. Brown sauce, bad. I forgot what I was going to say there. I think the spirits enjoy knowing people are aware of them. See, at the end of the day, I'm not an expert, nobody is, but I think the main thing about spirit is that they just want to be acknowledged. They want people to know, look, I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know, I might be gone physically, but everything else is still here. You know, I'm watching the timelines. Your location. Now, maybe I've watched too many horror films. I don't know. You know, but I know you're near enough right on the water.
Yeah.
We are 12 feet.
At the
Well,
front.
that's near enough in the water.
Yeah,
Yeah, 12 feet from the front of the water. Yeah.
That's about double. No, just say double the height. That's not very freaky. That's not reach through the window and pop your finger, dip your toe in.
It was worrying at times.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that, you know, does the water level ever come up a wee bit too high?
Not,
Yeah,
well,
occasionally.
it's
and
not,
then
it's
we're
never
out.
come in. It's
Yeah.
never come in yet.
We're out with
yeah.
sandbags, but yeah, it's never come in yet. But it's quite worrying at times.
Yeah.
But at the
Sandbags
moment,
and wells.
yeah. At the moment, we've got a lovely high tide, if you could see it just now. And we've got otters, seals, herons, and also for the first time in like 20 years, we've had ospreys over the bay this week. So yeah, it's looking good.
I think, you know, the water's right down the front of the sea. We've got a river at the side of us. So, you know, we're surrounded by water. To be perfectly honest, if it decides to come up higher, I don't think our sandbags are going to do much good.
Right, you'll be going up the stairs, maybe.
Yeah, we'll be going upstairs,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll be joining them, yeah.
That's the only thing that'll get you up the stairs, isn't it?
Yeah.
The water comes in. So what about the history of the loch? What about, you know, any sort of dark history to the loch?
Yeah.
That can maybe contribute to what's happening round about the house?
From the 1600s, where we are at the head of Loch Ewe, instead of Ullapool, Poolewe was the main ferry port to Stornoway. So the main cattle markets were held in Poolewe here. And
there was a mass drowning, I think, in 1640.
Yeah.
When all the cattle breeders that came from the Hebrides, Skye, and everywhere to sell their cattle here, they were drowned just outside.
There was a very big gale. They arrived with the cattle, and as they were going home, they were all drowned.
There's been a lot of sightings over the years of, well, they say redcoats and things. Bonnie Prince Charlie was in Poolewe. He fled from here to Gairloch and from Gairloch over to Skye because a man of war came into Loch Ewe looking for him, and he scarpered. One of his servants or retainers was flashing a bit too much cash, and he was done in here.
Yeah, about 2 miles from Poolhouse.
And his money and goods removed from him, so they took the prince's gold. There is a sea captain that was murdered by the crew, is buried on Isle Ewe out in front of us here. So that was on a galleon that came in, a schooner actually, came into the loch. And they pretended to be seeking a doctor, knowing full well there wasn't a doctor here. A local guy went on board to see if he could help, and it was really obvious the captain had been bludgeoned to death, very unpleasant head wounds, and he had to really work very hard to
get off the
boat safely himself. So he claimed that the captain must have been thrashing around with a severe temperature and caused his own injuries. I think he realised his life was in peril. So the captain is still buried. The family were never able to find and locate him and return him home. I mean, there's loads of dark history. There was a huge amount of clan warfare here between the Mackenzies and the MacLeods. A lot of, bodies locally where the fights took place. There was, I think, a fairly mass hanging of MacLeods at Kinloch Ewe just down the road. All kinds of stuff, right through actually from 800 heavy Viking area. A lot of Viking murders around here too. And it continued really, right through into the
early 1800s. Poolhouse was the site for the travelling judges of the Highlands. So any sheriff come in would try people.
They held a court here.
They had a court here in the house, and they would be hung on the hill quarter of a mile behind the house if they were found guilty. So we've got sort of that history. We have a very famous National Trust of Scotland Gardens in View, across the bay from us. We're the former home of Osgood Mackenzie, who founded the gardens. Before that, we were the Seaforth Mackenzies of the famous Seaforth Regiment, until they died out, and then the estate was sold to Osgood Mackenzie's mother. In World War II, Winston Churchill was in the house here, requisitioned it for the war effort. So we had all Atlantic, Arctic, local convoys, from Methil, London, coming round to Oban, were commanded, as well as Gibraltar convoys from the house. Lord Llewellyn was here with the Highland Field Training Centre, who were training young officers during the war, and the RAF were also in the house. So over the years, the last 350 years, there's been so much history in the house.
We're the most boring residents it's had, really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
you do nothing.
I wouldn't say he's a bore. Eileen loves you and she wants you to go for dinner. So I mean, we all that history, and we all the people that passed through the house.
Yeah, there's been
centuries.
We get people come in. I mean, 8 weeks ago, we had the lady come in and say, my great-grandmother died in this house. She was from Blair Athol. She married somebody from Poolewe, and this was her name.
We've subsequently found out that she was actually the leaseholder of the house at the time. She and her husband had leased it from the Mackenzies. I thought she was maybe a servant or something, but she wasn't. So yeah, I mean, there's been all sorts of people have come through this house, and I think left their mark on it over the years.
So I mean, just jumping back to up the stairs, the upstairs fascinates me now. Yeah. I would love to go upstairs. There's a amount of people that pass through it, especially. I'm just assuming it's a male that's up the stairs. I could be totally wrong, It'd be hard to sort of
we do feel the very top of the house. We do all feel that it is possibly male up there.
I think it said it was male to the Dutch people, but at other times it's claimed to be female. So either there's more than one of them, or
but we do feel more male.
Yeah, I feel a more male energy. I think.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to kind of put. You get these old houses and they've maybe had a handful of residents down through, over maybe a couple of 100 years. So it's easier to try and pinpoint who it is. But with a house such as yourselves, with all the people coming and going, it'd be hard to. I mean, it's possible it could be one of the judges that used to live there. Obviously, it'd been a court, he would see that as his territory kind of thing. He was the boss.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe.
The ballet that is seen by guests who always wears a mustard-coloured waistcoat, and he's all seen April-May time. We had a journalist from the Sunday Times was here doing a piece, and she actually witnessed him. And she wrote about 25 years ago about this gentleman that she'd seen. And the family actually contacted us and said, we believe that's our grandfather. And he used to visit Poolhouse with his
boss,
his boss, but he didn't die here. But Poolewe was always his happy place. So if he's still seen in Poolhouse in Poolewe, that's lovely, because that was one of his most happiest places that he'd been. And 10 days ago, Liam, when you were with the people from America, and they talked about Maureen and a housekeeper that they'd seen. We hadn't thought about Maureen for like 25, 28 years. And when they came down and said, we spoke to somebody that looked after the house and said it was shipshape and her name was Maureen, I was like, goodness, that's Maureen McLennan. Lived on the loch and was housekeeper here for like 20 years before we came, and was with us for about 5 years afterwards until she was elderly and gave up work. So that was really amazing as well.
Yeah,
dominant spirit.
There's been so many direct hits, and even when we've been doing events, occasionally we've had guests who've had connections to the house.
Yeah,
and we'll
I remember
suddenly
that lady.
medium,
Yeah.
our medium will come up with a name, and it'll be like, oh wow, somebody will suddenly go, hang on a minute, that's connected to me. And yeah,
Do you
they
remember
were
a couple of years ago we had some folk in this actual room, and it was one of your team was on the divining rods, and they turned and identified the person. She went, well, I don't know anybody in here. And then it finally got down to that Jessie that we'd bought the house from and her son, she was a cousin. And when the rods said, do you know anybody in this room? And they turned to this lady and they went, yes, you know, and we'd actually been speaking to Jessie that we'd bought the house from 35 years ago. And this was a cousin that had never met her, but was a distant relative, and they come out of Inverness. How do you explain that?
Yeah.
That out of everybody in the room, whoever's on the divining rods, do you know anybody in this room? And they turned to her. It was amazing.
Yeah, we've had a gentleman as well whose father was on the Arctic convoys come through as well.
Yeah.
And I know that he asked some very private questions and got the answers he expected to get. So
how do you explain it? I don't know. It's weird.
Somebody was asking about a dominant spirit. I think the one on the top floor is the most dominant, and also it can move around the house, although it seems to be most commonly found on the top floor. If you go up there, I think it can actually follow you right down the stairs and all the way down to the ground floor. It seems very free to move around whatever's up there, even if it does like the top floor best.
Does it? Sorry, Liza, when you go.
No, I think we've got another one, a lady. We know, or think we know who that is. We think it's Osgood's wife. There was a really huge Victorian divorce battle went on in this house. So it was a national scandal at the time in all the papers. She was locked up more or less in this house for 4 years fighting this divorce. She passed the time carving the banister of the house. She carved roses all down it. I think she had a thoroughly miserable life here, actually. Eventually, she won the battle and went back to England. But she's the one who is always seen by men. And over the years, all the male guests that have claimed to see her have always described her dress as the same colour. They all recognise this kind of turquoise peacock blue. We've had her dress kind of replicated from their descriptions, and it's on a mannequin, but never seen by women, but always putting her hands on people's shoulders. So women or children, she will touch them, but only ever seen by males.
You get, as usual, Liam, you get that way, some spirits prefer women, some spirits prefer men. And there could be 101 different reasons for it. You see, you get a male spirit that only talk to me. We've had it in the Covenanters, and we've had it in Caldwell, places like that. If you see you get a male spirit who in physical was a bit of a ladies' man,
Well, the other thing we've had, Scott, I think, Liam has found that we've got spirits that don't speak English. You've got to speak to them in Gaelic.
Yeah, we've had some fascinating results with that. If you want, we'll use the rods, and we were getting gobbledygook, no real response at all. And there was a young lad with us who could speak Gaelic, and some said, well, maybe they can't speak English. So we tried. He said some phrases in Gaelic, and as soon as he started talking to the Gaelic, the rods started making sense.
You think about it, where you are, not as much down here, but up your end.
Oh, definitely. So we've got Hannah now. So Hannah joined us. She does psychic art, but she joined us as a Gaelic speaking investigator. So she gives us that option now that we can communicate in Gaelic, because we've been to other locations where we've even had mediums say, oh yeah, this woman can speak in English, but no, she's only going to speak to you in Gaelic. And you've got to be mindful as well that in the Highlands there would have been a lot of people at certain points in time who would have been extremely wary of English speakers.
Indeed, during World War II, Liam, people here on the Loch, they didn't speak English, and people arrived.
Mostly, they only spoke Gaelic here really until about 1940. They didn't even teach English in the school; it was Latin. So they had no English at all till fairly recently.
Yeah.
I haven't seen we get a lot of French here, islands over Edinburgh way.
Yeah.
Just outside Edinburgh to the south. I mean, we've had that. We've had French, we've had American, we've had Irish, English as well, it's Scottish as well. We've had quite a few different, accents and what have you. And with the Highlands, as you say, Gaelic, that was the most common language, if you like, put it that way. And I think that's a good way to go about it. As Liam says, they've got Hannah now, she speaks Gaelic, so I think that'll come in Hannah will come in handy.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Hannah, but handy should be quite good to have about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, certainly. I think we've definitely got people in the house from the 1800s, and they would only have spoken Gaelic.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, from the Mackenzies leased this house, and they leased it as a hunting lodge, and nearly every person that leased it was English. And
but the staff
a lot of the time, it was
Gaelic
a mix. They also brought up English servants, so we all have spirits that can definitely understand English, and there'll be a good spattering of local ones that will only understand Gaelic. Yeah,
and the English were kind of frowned upon as well at times.
Yeah.
They weren't exactly kissing cousins.
No,
so
exactly.
they've all been aware anybody can, speak in English or anything that resembles it. It's the same as, if you're out in date and you maybe get a spirit for the Tudor times, they spoke totally different to what we speak now. So you need to sort of come and go with it a bit. But just before we wind it up, folks, what's your most frightening experience? We're going to ask you this, Liam. We're going to ask you, Liam, as well. Have you ever had a I'm never going back in there moment?
Me at Poolhouse.
No, the ladies first, Liam. Come on, have some manners.
We worked that out earlier. On you go, ladies.
Are you talking about a frightening experience here?
They say I'm never going back in that house again.
Not in Poolhouse. I've had it somewhere else. Yeah, in England. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we had a house. We had a job selling. It was so bad, and a particularly nasty, violent, thing that turned on gas taps and tried to cause fires and all manner of stuff. But Poolhouse, no. If you're here alone at night, there's a total of 45 rooms in the house. So any big house, if you're on your own in it, you're going to amplify every creak, every groan. In the winter, you've got a gale blowing outside and things. Yeah, it's always going to feel a bit creepy. But no, I don't.
And we do have a ghost car on the Loch. That we see about once a year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
A ghost car?
Yeah, you see headlights.
Yeah, a lot of people
down
see
towards
that,
Nast, which is on the left-hand side of Poolewe, and you're driving along. You think, oh, there's lights there, and then you pull in to let the ghost car past, and it doesn't arrive.
It never comes,
and you're on single track, and there's absolutely nowhere it could have turned round or turned back.
That happens to a lot of people, though.
Yeah.
It's not just us.
But over the last 35 years that we've lived here,
we've wasted
2 or 3 times a
waiting.
winter, you stop the ghost car that never arrives, and there's nowhere it could possibly have turned around, and nobody has any idea of that. Mm-hmm. Although there's things in the house that you may feel like, wow, what happened there? As Liam said, there's nothing like nasty in the house or bad. There are things that move or you hear sounds, but yeah, you learn to live with it.
What about you, Liam?
We've had this conversation before. The living are more scary than the dead. And I'm not talking about present company, but yeah, I've had a few scary encounters with when I've been doing private cases, but it's not been with the dead. I think I've said before. I think the most scared I was when the first night I ever went out. We did 2 locations, and the second one was the old mental asylum graveyard, and it was a misty, dark night. And yeah, I was pretty spooked that night. But since then, to be perfectly honest, no, I hate it. I don't get scared, but I don't tend to get scared. I'm scared of the living. I have been terrified. I have actually been like, am I actually going to get out of here alive tonight at a few private locations? So yeah, but no. We've said, Scott, I think my experience of spirit is and the ladies touched on it as well. With the valley is that they go to locations they loved in life. Mm-hmm. They're happy where they are. So they're not there to upset folk. They're mischievous, as you said, Scott, but at times
they're
some
happy
of them. They're happy. Doing. It's just they are like they were in life. If they were mischievous, in life, they're going to be mischievous afterwards. So it's. So for me,
I totally agree with him. They go to the place where they were happiest and they're settled, and I dare say they get annoyed at different bits and bobs, they did in the physical, and they like playing jokes and stuff like that, but when you get all these clouds that say, the house is haunted by Satan and 25 demons up in that bedroom and all that bollocks, you think, no, it's excuse the French, it's not happening. I've enjoyed your chat so very much tonight, most engaging and enchanting ladies. You're not getting a mention, Liam. It's the last
That's fine. I know Eileen loves me, so it's fine.
I'm sure she loves you today.
We love Eileen.
Don't feel bad, Liam. I'm not getting a mention either. It's fine. We know which side of the bread.
To be honest, it's always fascinating to listen to Liz and Mary.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask them.
Not just because they're here. I'm being genuine here. Poolhouse it's a gem of a place.
Oh, thank you, Liam.
And it's one of these. I know from the fact that we took 3 American visitors there last week, and they didn't stop talking about the place all the way back to Inverness. Oh. So. I mean that speaks volumes.
And it's a bit
Thank you very much.
For Poolewe to Inverness, I googled it. It's a bit of a drive.
It's only an hour and a half.
An hour and 43 minutes actually.
Not if I'm driving.
It's with 2.5 hours in Liam driving. Eileen loves you, Liam, so there you're sorted. I'm buggered, you're all right.
Thank you, Eileen.
Thanks, Eileen. See the snare there, Eileen, you see it? So I really enjoyed having you on, ladies, so I'm glad you asked. You want to come back on?
Fantastic, we'd love to.
Be great.
Excellent, we'll get something set up. So, just for I'll keep a hold of these after we come off. So where can people find you? And don't say in the house. If anybody's want to look these up.
Pool-house.co.uk. There we go.
And pool just like a swimming pool. Don't put an E on the end of it.
No. She loves me as well now. Liam said. Calls me a Ouija man. So where can people find you, Liam? I suppose I better ask you since you're here.
Well, Highland Paranormal on Facebook, highlandparanormal.org on the web.
So, I mean, I know you've heard that a dozen times before, folks, but Highland Paranormal, you'll find them there. No, seriously, look them up. Highland Paranormal, they are a genuine team, even though Liam's only about 3'4". Don't hold that against him. And he's not got legs for shorts. Trust me, I've seen the photo. Go on their page, you'll see the photograph. But don't eat before you look at the photo.
I'm telling you, from you.
You tell
He'll not be speaking to you, Scott.
She's watching anyway, Liam, so
I
she'll
know.
probably know anyway.
I know.
I'm not apologising. I'm not stuff your apology. You're not getting that. But I'll keep. Don't disappear, ladies. So give the ladies a look up, because for what you've heard tonight, it is an amazing place, and if you get the chance, go and visit. I know we'll be arranging a wee road trip up, because I want to see what's up on the top floor. Good night, folks. Thanks for tonight.
Night.
Awesome chat, guys. Love. Thanks, Elder. Lovely to hear you, ladies, again. So that's us for tonight. We're back on Monday. Well, we and our little one is back on Monday night with Tarrant Tracy. We're doing a wee podcast again. Have you been on, Liam?
No,
Not well.
never been invited.
She's got a list. She's got a list. I think you're actually on the list. I think we better stick the ladies on the list as well, since you're listening. But we'll wind it up there now, folks, and go give all these nice people a look up, and we'll see you again on Monday. All right, folks. Take care.
Night, folks.
Night,
Bye.
folks. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.